Hey everybody, we're gonna give it a few seconds here to get started, but I'm really excited today. We're gonna be covering the 5 simple steps that are gonna boost your metabolism and help you lose 20 pounds easily. And I just finished my workout. I'm drinking my Thorn protein shake. It's delicious. If you haven't tried these, it tastes like a chocolate milkshake, and I used water, and they're delicious. So definitely check them out. But today we're going to be talking about, well, I guess we'll be covering your workouts a little bit at some point too, but we're going to be going over the 5 simple steps. And I think, first of all, metabolism is a really complex thing, and I think people are using it a lot of the times in the wrong way, and they're thinking about it a little bit wrong as well. And the number one thing that I see that people are making a mistake on around metabolism is that they think that their genetics determine how fast their metabolism is, and that's it, and that's all you can do about it. And your genetics do play a little bit of a role in it. So don't get me wrong. Some people do genetically just have a faster metabolism, a faster metabolic rate. But there are a lot of things that we're doing that are slowing down and dampening our metabolism. And I want to cover some of those things today, and then give you guys some action steps that you can do to increase your metabolism so that you can burn calories more easily and burn fat more easily, right? And so that you can lose weight. So the first thing is, generally we just don't move our bodies enough. And I am just as guilty as this as many people, sitting at my desk for 8 to 12 hours straight on a busy day and struggling to get movement in. I do really try to prioritize it, but I know how hard it can be. And so if we're not moving our body all day long, we are just telling our brain is just going to tell our metabolism that we don't need to burn more calories. And so our metabolism slows down, right? So we need to be incorporating movement. So the first hack, the first simple step to improve your metabolism is to take a 10 to 15 minute walk after every meal. And the reason for after every meal is that current research actually shows that if you walk after you eat a meal, you actually control your blood sugar better. And your blood sugar is important because if you have excess sugar in your blood, it ends up getting stored as body fat. And so we want to obviously control the sugar in our blood by pulling it into our cells. And one way that you can do that very simply is by taking a walk after each time you eat. It just reduces the amount of fat that you'll store from that meal. So really simple step, 10 to 15 minutes. Even if you can only get 5, doing something is better than just going from your meal right back to your desk. Walking after you eat also improves your digestion, so you'll process the food better and actually absorb more of it. And lastly, the new research also shows that 8,000 steps per day will help prevent depression, GERD or GERD, diabetes, high blood pressure, all these things, right? And so I think you can use it to as your form of exercise, as disease prevention. And so our goal should be 10 to 15 minutes after each meal and trying to get around 8,000 steps each day. Number 2, you know what, guys? I'm supposed to be sharing this with you. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see this too. Let me see if I can make that happen so you can watch this as well. See if I can make that happen. The next thing we're going to talk about is inflammatory foods. How can I share my screen? Weird. Maybe I can't share my screen. That's okay. I will give you guys the training afterwards so that you can see the document and you can go through it then. Yeah, I'll share it with you guys afterward. So the second thing is to eat low inflammatory foods. So number 1, walk 10 to 15 minutes after each meal. Number 2, eat low inflammatory foods. We are eating so many inflammatory foods in our standard American diet, and it causes a lot of issues. I'm actually going to give you guys the food list in the document here that I have that we use to help reduce inflammation. But what's interesting is there is a feedback loop between the inflammatory foods you eat and weight gain. So what I mean by that is when we gain weight, we actually increase our inflammatory markers in our body. So those actually increase, right? The problem is when our inflammatory markers increase, we also gain weight. So there's ends up being this feedback loop where if we gain weight, our inflammation increases, and if our inflammation increases, we gain more weight, and then it just keeps happening in that loop. And so we want to try to break that, right? We have to try to break that somewhere. And so, when we gain weight, there's a lot of things that happen. Number one, it causes hormonal and metabolic changes, right? That again lead to inflammation. And then again, when we have increased inflammation, we are actually it actually leads to insulin and leptin sensitivity, resistance. And why that's important to you is because insulin resistance literally means that you are going to store more body fat because your body can't move sugar from the bloodstream into your cells, right? So it ends up being excess blood or sugar in the blood, and then you store it as body fat if we're resistant to insulin. So we got to make sure that we're having we're controlling our inflammation, and that leads to diabetes too, right? So those things are really important. And then from leptin sensitivity, leptin is the hormone that regulates our hunger and our metabolism. So if we're resistant to that, we're going to slow down our metabolism and we're going to feel hungry more often. Bad things, right? And so that feedback loop is really vicious, and we have to really work on making sure that we are controlling our inflammation by the foods that we eat and some of the habits that we do. So step number one is you're going to avoid refined sugary carbohydrates, right? Those are the biggest contributor to systemic inflammation and chronic inflammation that we consume. Think about things like cereal, Pop-Tarts, baked goods, things like that. You're going to try to avoid those things. Number two, vegetable oils. Canola oil, vegetable oil, soybean oil, all are really, really inflammatory to us. And so we got to make sure that we're controlling those and that we're not using them super often. Use things like olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil are much, much better options that will be, they're actually positives instead of negatives, right? So there's a big difference there between the oils that you use. So no vegetable oils. Three is processed meats like hot dogs and deli meats. You want to try to avoid those the most you can because those are inflammatory as well. And then refined flours like bread or things in your baked goods as well. And then lastly, this is very personal based on the person, but some people are intolerant to gluten or dairy, and so via personal preference or personal just reactions to those foods, you're going to want to avoid those if you have bad reactions to them. Okay. Lastly, so those are the things that we're going to avoid, right? The things that you're actually going to do is you're going to try to increase your omega-3s in your diet. And so we have omega-6 fatty acids and we have omega-3 fatty acids. The typical American has a ratio of 20 omega-6s to 1 omega-3. The ideal ratio is 3 omega-6s to 1 omega-3. So we are way overeating omega-6s, right? And omega-6s are those inflammatory fats that we just talked about. And those inflammatory foods, you'll see them in like butter, like a lot of other animal fats. Like a lot of those things have really high omega-6 content. And then also, when we're eating things that are just really highly palatable foods, those are typically high in omega-6s. So what you can do is try to increase the amount of omega-3s you have, because omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. So what you're going to do is eat salmon, chia seeds, and egg yolks. Those are just three examples. There's a lot of other ones you can look up that are helpful for increasing your omega-3s, but those are three really basic ones. And eat those more often. And then secondly, take an omega-3 supplement. I linked two in the training here that I like. But most of us need an omega-3 supplement to have a good ratio. And the reason for that is omega-6s are inflammatory. Omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. We need to balance the scales here, or else we're just going to be fighting an uphill battle. Okay? So that's number two. Number three is let's eat meals, not salads. Far too often, people are eating salads as their meal, and you are just not getting enough calories, not getting enough nutrients if you're having a salad to give you energy and supply you with the nutrients that your body needs to increase your metabolism. You need a protein, you need a healthy fat, you need a lot of veggies, you need a piece of fruit or some starches at each and every meal. And so if we are just having lettuce and some dressing and like, maybe some carrots or cucumber or something, like we are not getting enough energy from that meal to feed our metabolism, right? Think about your metabolism as like a fire. If you can't just feed it paper, you have to have paper, Kindle, logs to have a burning fire. And the protein and your healthy fats are those logs that really light it up. And so we got to make sure that we have those in our diet. So I'm not saying salads are bad, but if you're having a salad with just some lettuce and like dressing and some other vegetables, you are not getting enough. You are not getting enough nutrients from that meal for it to support a healthy metabolism. Okay. So we recommend what's called fat loss and energy plates that we have designed, and I have some graphics here in the training. But basically, a fat loss plate would be used away from your workouts. So say you work out in the morning, you wouldn't have a fat loss plate for lunch or for breakfast. You would have a fat loss plate for lunch and dinner. And a fat loss plate is really a quarter of the plate would be protein, an eighth would be healthy fats, and the rest would be fruits and veggies. An energy plate would be used around your workouts. An energy plate is half protein, half veggies, and then some starches on the side as well. So you can see that graphic in this training, but we use those after workouts to recover and build muscle after workouts. Okay. Number 4, this is my favorite one. The fourth simple step is to cut down on alcohol. Alcohol, first of all, when you drink alcohol, your body treats it as a poison. And so what that means is your body is going to stop all other metabolic processes to metabolize the alcohol because it perceives it as a very high threat, right? And it could kill you. Obviously, it's not going to kill us because we can process it and actually metabolize it. But it is a poison, so your body prioritizes it very, very high and turns down all other metabolic functions like fat burning. And so it's interesting, fat burning is actually shut down for 12 to 36 hours after consuming alcohol, depending on how much you had and how well you process alcohol. So you may not burn fat for a day after having some drinks. And that can really be a detriment to your weight loss results, right? And so I'm not saying don't drink. I'm not saying you have to give up drinking entirely. But if you're drinking every single day, and say you're having 1 glass of wine every day, you could be stopping your body from burning fat for half the day every day. And that could be really a big problem for you when trying to lose weight. So, let's cut down on the alcohol if you are having it super often. If you're having it daily, a glass of wine at night, or even if you're like going crazy on the weekends, but you're trying to lose weight on the weekends too, right? It's just those goals are conflicting. So I'm not saying to cut it out forever, but maybe while you're trying to lose some weight, you cut down on it, right? So yeah, my recommendation is just to cut down during the week and stick to one to two drinks over the weekend. And the last tip here, the last strategy is building muscle. So lifting weights, right? Building muscle increases our metabolic rate, which basically just means that we have a faster metabolism, right? If you increase the amount of muscle mass that you have, your metabolism will be faster and you will burn more calories naturally. And so we build muscle through strength training. That's how we do it. You don't build muscle on the treadmill. Okay? We build muscle by lifting weights. And so we're going to aim for 6 to 12 reps. We're going to use weights that get us close to failure. Think 2 to 4 reps in the tank there. Like for example, so if I'm doing, let's use just one that you can see me. If I'm doing presses, right, and I get to the end and I feel like I could do 2 reps more and that would be it, I would fail. That's where I would stop. That's 2 to 4 reps in the tank. And I included a funny graphic here that you guys can't see, unfortunately. But the things that make you bulky are not lifting weights. The things that make you bulky are refined sugars, excess alcohol, overconsumption of carbohydrates, not moving your body, right? Those things that make us bulky. Lifting weights doesn't make us bulky unless you really, really try to, especially for women. It is really tough. Women that you see are bulky are exercising in the gym hours on end every day. Their macros are dialed in. They're recovering and doing everything that they need to do to get jacked. And you're probably only going to exercise an hour a day, so that's not going to happen to you. But you will build some muscle mass and you will start to look more toned and you will increase your metabolism if you do lift some weights. Those are the 5 simple steps. Also, guys, last week we released a metabolic workout builder that is basically like how to create workout. It's a guide for you to create workouts for yourself that are meant to improve your metabolism. So if you want that, let me know. We can drop you the link for that. And I did a free video in our Facebook group here that you guys are seeing about how to lose 20 pounds before Christmas using the metabolic workout builder. So if you guys want that, just drop a comment below. And I hope this was helpful for you guys today. I know this is a little bit of a long training, but I wanted to make sure that we covered all 5 steps of how to boost your metabolism and lose 20 pounds so that you can do that before the end of the year. All right, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Also, comment below if you listen to this on the replay. Comment below if you listen to this on the live, and I will get you the training doc I'm referring to. There's a lot of good stuff in here that I couldn't show you guys. Some funny memes and some links to things that would be really helpful. So if you want that, just comment live or replay below, and then I'll get that over to you. Catch you guys in the next one.